Welcome back, everyone. This is Austin Revel, right here at 2FBC Tactical, located in New Prague, Minnesota. Today's going to be a pretty awesome video just because we're going to talk about something positive in the gun world, which is always a nice thing to talk about. Unfortunately, there's always negatives, and for once, we have something positive coming up January 1 as it relates to the National Firearms Act. Now, first off, I want to give a huge shout out to all of our subscribers. We really appreciate all of you who've tuned in, liked, commented. Please keep that up. That helps the channel grow, and we'd love to hit 25,000 followers, by the end of the year, if at all possible. So help us get there. Really appreciate that. I do want to apologize. I don't know why YouTube took down our last video. Don't have a clue. Claims we were selling something when we weren't. We were giving our opinion on Pam Bondi and the kind of job that she's done as Attorney General as it relates to firearms. I have that up on Rumble. We always cross-post on Rumble. We have a Patreon account as well. So please, if you would like to support the channel, go over to Rumble as well. Go over to Patreon. The links are down below. There are still some free speech platforms out there that we try to support as well. And I won't rehash that whole video, but we gave her like a C- on that. Anyway, getting into today's video, we should talk about what's going to happen January 1 with the National Firearms Act. And the reason why we should do this video is just because I still get a lot of questions from customers that come into the shop. And the number one question is it still going to happen January 1? Are they still going to take the $200 tax stamp away? The answer is yes. It was signed by the President of the United States. Congress passed the bill in reconciliation process, the big, beautiful bill. President Trump signed it. It has to be implemented because it is now law. So yes, tax stamps are going to go to $0. There is some caveats there. What does that relate to? It only relates to suppressors, SBRs, SBSs, and AOWs. That is it. It doesn't relate to machine guns. It doesn't relate to destructive devices. Those were left the same. When it comes to, do I still have to fingerprint? Do I still have to fill out all the Form 4 paperwork? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You have to do that. Nothing about the actual regulations changed. It's just the amount of dollars paid. That's the only way to look at this. So does that mean a change for, say, the Form 1? I want to make my own SBR. Yes, that does mean a change for the Form 1. The ATF just updated that. That will go to $0 as well. You want to make an SBR? Just wait till January 1. You will still have to fingerprint. You have to register your item just like you would before. You'll have to wait for that permission slip for you to finish building it. But once you get that back, you just won't have to spend $200 to the feds. That's simply all it is. This is positive for the gun owners. This is not what we wanted. And there's some dangers here too, which I'm gonna touch on briefly. The biggest danger is because this was done via reconciliation, nothing is to stop a future administration from taking that $0 tax and slapping it to $10,000. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff becomes unaffordable, right? Puts a whole bunch of companies out of business because no one can afford a $10,000 tax stamp. That's the real danger. The real danger is that there will be some kind of a movement back and forth. And this all stems from a 1937 Supreme Court case called the Selensky case, where the Supreme Court said that the National Firearms Act, which was implemented a year before, is presumably constitutional because it's just a taxation scheme. I don't agree with this ruling at all. Granted, I'm not a lawyer, but the way they phrased this case, they basically said that, Congress has the power to tax and raise revenue for the United States. Since this is what they claim a legitimate revenue raising tax, therefore it is constitutional. They didn't wade into the Second Amendment at all. They would sort of do that in 1939 with the Miller case, but they kind of punted on that case as well, kind of left that one a little bit more open-ended. And unfortunately, we have been stuck with the National Firearms Act ever since. That brings us to some other positive things that's going on, which is why you should support FPC, GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, and many, many others, because there are lawsuits saying that now that the tax portion has gone to $0, then this is simply just a registration scheme, which under the Selensky case is illegal. They said that the only reason why the National Firearms Act can stay in effect is because it's just simply a revenue tax. And the registration portion of it is just a registration of taxes collected on items. We all know that that's not necessarily true, because I go to Walmart just like I did yesterday. I check out with a little thing of Tic Tacs. I pay sales tax on it. There's no serial number registered on that Tic Tac case saying that I paid taxes on that particular Tic Tac. We just paid taxes blankly, right? That's how taxation normally works. Unfortunately, National Firearms Act is not set up that way, because it was made to basically price a whole category of firearms and accessories out of the general public. That was the whole point of it. The whole point of it was to make it so that you and me, Mr. John and Martha Smith, cannot afford to buy these things. The only major issue that they had with it was they never addressed inflation in it. So which is why $200 now doesn't mean as much, whereas in 1936, $200 was pretty cost prohibitive. That's simply what we're seeing. You got to check these cases out. There's 3 or 4 of them, and we're very hopeful that they will win. And based on the 1937 case, I think they have a good chance. But I mean, this is all just to say that yes, this will go in effect January 1. There is no more $200 payment to the feds. Simple as that. We want to make sure that everyone knows that the registration stuff is still in effect. And if you're looking at, like, I'm going to go home that day with my item, that is not how that's going to work, unfortunately. Who knows what the processing times will be come January 1, I should say. Right now our typical processing times are about 2 weeks on the high end. But if we get inundated, which I suspect we will, with a whole bunch of submissions, a whole bunch of Form 4s, it may slow the process down a little bit. That will be the interesting part. But if they have any more questions about that, again, please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time. We'll have another video. Like I said, hopefully YouTube doesn't take this one down. We'll see how that goes. But we'll see you next time.